Stu USA. Welcome to Exit Frag, episode number 5. We are back with Esports Andy, that nerd Kaizen, me, Zeph, and our newest guest, Fulshi. Welcome to the podcast. Introduce yourself.
Welcome. So my name is Fulshi. I come from Singapore. I mainly do Pacific content, but I do dabble in CN once in a while.
Nice.
Cool.
Yes. You have been blowing up on YouTube the last couple of months.
Quick question. Who's the best Chinese team right now since you've been dabbling, in your opinion?
The best?
Yeah.
FPX.
FPX? Okay.
Yeah.
100%.
Hey.
The amount of like different looks they sent to Heretics was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start with the episode. And we got to talk about some drama. Typical Valorant. Never drama free. So, did Fnatic underperform?
Well, I guess like they have to have underperformed, especially because of like they're considered one of the best teams ever, especially coming off of last year, and because it's kind of all self-inflicted. Because I don't think people would be so, oh my goodness, Fnatic flopped if Boaster didn't have that clip. But yeah, of course, like of course they flopped. Like they super underperformed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I always go by the whole saying, it's like, it's not if you win or lose, but how you win or lose. And against Gen.G, they had 3 really close maps, right?
Yeah.
But fast forward to Foot, it wasn't even a fight, man. It was a massacre. It was literally a clinic. And you could do some mental gymnastics here and there by saying that, oh, some of the players were sick. I believe it was it Leo who got sick again for that?
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it
dude's
was
immune
Leo.
system just is
Yeah.
terrible.
The only thing that could hold back Fnatic. I think they had a similar issue last year too, right? During the regional play of EMEA.
Didn't Alfier get sick? Like I remember sometime him getting sick for like a Masters. Maybe that was last year, but
the only thing that can stop Fnatic apparently is like gas station sushi, I guess. I mean, you get those boys away from there. But yeah, well, I guess against Foot, it wasn't really a blowout because they did beat Foot 13-5 on split. And I guess Lotus, they put up somewhat of a fight, but it Ascent. That's the thing that sucks about Valorant is because like the fan base, and I'm guilty of it too. Me and the fan base, a lot of people are just very like hindsight Harrys and like reactionary. You don't really look at the full overview of stuff. And the fact that you go out 13-3 is just, a lot of people are going to say Fnatic underperformed, right? And in an elimination game when the pressure is at its highest, right? So I guess that's something you could say that. And plus the first seed, you're the first seed, bro. You can't be losing to Foot as the first seed from EMEA. You're supposed to be like EMEA's savior, right? After Masters Madrid, everyone was like, please, Fnatic, save the EMEA society, like the Bleach meme and stuff like that. So I guess it's fair to say they underperformed a little bit. Yeah. At first I wanted to go against the grain, but the more I kept talking, the more I realized, yeah, they kind of fumbled the bag. It's kind of hard to defend them with that kind of performance a little bit.
My whole reason why I say like they underperformed, because the Gen.G game, they played fine. I think Gen.G didn't play up to their standard. I think that was kind of a poor game on their part. Gen.G now, like in their last match, would cream Fnatic. I think they would have 2-0'd Fnatic now. And then Split, like Foot has such glaring issues with some of their comps, some of their strategies that like Fnatic just played normal and destroyed that Foot on Split, which I think any team in this, other than maybe like Dragon Rangers, would have had a pretty good chance against them on Split, like especially in that map. But then Lotus and Ascent, they didn't look like themselves against a team that they played a lot. Like this is a team that they understand. Maybe it's Foot kind of figured them out, but it didn't feel like that. It just kind of felt like Fnatic aren't Fnatic really much anymore, or at least they need to find like a new way to play the game. It's just it's getting too outdated in my opinion, and that's why I say like they flopped, because they started looking a little bit better in EMEA, and then this was their chance that like even if they just played these matches, like if they played better, I wouldn't have said they flopped, but they didn't look impressive at all. Like they didn't look like, I would have liked to see maybe another EMEA team make the tournament than them.
There's a lot of things going on with like, because if you think about it, the first two teams to be eliminated in the playoffs, both first seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I've been hearing like people saying scrim quality, which I can see it being kind of like not so great, because it's like, who are these tier one teams scrimming, you know, all the way in China, you know? So maybe there's some credit or merit to the idea of like the first seeds aren't looking as great because they didn't have as much like, you know, practice time or like as much like I said, scrims and match preps and stuff like that. But then again, at the same time, it's Fnatic. You've been to a lot of international events, so it's kind of like the same thing. Is like, can't really like give them too much like excuses here and there. Should have been prepared a little bit better. But I mean, Gen.G was probably one of the best teams coming out of the Swiss stage too. So
I agree.
yeah.
Fulshi, you got something to add
Yeah.
to the game aspect before we get to the drama?
It really is. They definitely 100% underperform in a way that they kind of fell flat. Like after you put up such a close fight against Gen.G, which are one of the teams that have been held to win the whole event, it's definitely disappointing. And then losing to the third seed in your own region in such a manner like that, it's kind of embarrassing to a sense that you bragged about how well you did in the grand finals
Yeah.
of EMEA.
Yeah.
You're saying like, don't underestimate us. Don't. We just needed time. You had a whole week of time when you traveled to Seoul, not Seoul. When you traveled to Shanghai, and to put out such a fight like that is disappointing.
I agree.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. They did it to themselves.
Yeah, I think they just set those expectations so high.
Now to the drama, the unnecessary drama. So some random person tweeted, "Get rid of this fraud," and it was like a screenshot of the VLR like score line for Boaster on one of the maps, and it was like his 2-12 performance, and Yinsu went and like quote retweeted it, and she was saying like, "Oh, like Boaster's getting all this hate. Like, I can't believe people are doing this," and just, I mean, came to the defense of Boaster, and that's fine, I guess, but then Kakuka also tweeted about it and was saying that how are we like bullying players, especially given the situation that happened with Twistin like a year and a half ago. And I thought that was pretty fucking stupid. Oh, we already got demonetized. Fuck.
Are we even monetized?
Anywho, no, we're not even monetized. It's okay. Algorithm. Anywho, so yeah, I thought the bringing up Twistin was completely unnecessary. Boaster had a bad game. Like, he's a public figure. What were you like expecting? Of course, people are gonna like clown on you or like make fun of you, especially with like, I mean, I'm not justifying it, but 2-12 is a really poor performance. Like, were you looking for this tweet? Were you looking for like sympathy? Like, I don't get it. And then there's the whole thing with like people are calling her a hypocrite because on the same like EMEA stream like a month ago, there was a situation where like Steel was making fun of Ye in an official segment, and then there's been like multiple reports of EMEA segments where they're making fun of Tens, they're making fun of Demon One, and it's just like like come on, how can you be angry at people doing it online when the EME streams are doing it to other players that aren't even part of the region? So, it's hard for me to defend something like that.
Because ultimately, I feel like it's all just. It's less of like that one tweet, and it's like a symbolism of like everything like surrounding. Like, I guess that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and they decided to respond to like that was the one. And I feel like that was like if you wanna, you got to pick your battles. Like ultimately, like I get where they're coming from. Like it is annoying when everyone's criticizing you and they don't know. Like, oh yeah, it's like hard to be a player, and people can be like vile online. Like that wasn't a bad comment at all. Like you can call people frauds, you can call them washed. I don't think that's a bad thing because it's like it's ultimately a game. It's like I know it's their careers, but also like you're only 20 something. Like we're all young. Like it's not the end of the world if you're not a pro gamer. Like
That's true.
And so it's okay to say those things. I just think and I understand where they're coming from. Like they probably get like terrible comments. I've gotten terrible comments before, and I'm like, but I just think responding to it just makes it even worse.
Yeah,
because it's gonna happen. You're gonna have bad games, and people are gonna flame you. People are also gonna send you vile comments, and I still think you gotta just eat them. Like I don't know, maybe that's my opinion. You just gotta eat them, especially if you're also a public figure that's willing to have a personality, because you're gonna make fun of people. You're gonna like you're a caster. Like you're gonna make fun of people. That's fine, but then don't get mad at don't respond to it at least. There's no point.
The more you respond to it, you're just feeding it.
Yeah.
As well. I remember when y'all remember when Slideshow did like a whole hour, like just criticizing tens. I remember watching a clip saying tens. He said he didn't really watch it at all.
Yeah.
Because he knew ever since the CS days, because you guys gotta remember, tens was like a prodigy during CS, but he didn't really like, I don't want to say he didn't live up to it, but he had struggles, right? And I guess during his time there, he realized, oh, the internet is a very bad place to be and stuff like that. So he just took it up upon himself to be like, hey, I'm not going to read this stuff anymore. It's bad for my mental. And I feel like if you're a player or even like a significant other of someone like that, it's probably best for you to just not read those kind of things. Like just take a break from the internet, Well, I guess it would be harder for a caster because your job is to stay to keep updated and stuff like that. But
it's part of the
just
job.
get a burner account, just get a burner account.
I mean, it definitely comes with the double standard though of like Boaster being such like a lovable face of the scene itself, and Yinsu coming to his defense just shows that how, and Kakuka in a sense show that how loved he is. But if you compare that to Ye has been hated ever since he left Optic. It was bad, bro. There's a literal TikTok account that is dedicated to hating on Ye. Which is crazy. Imagine having so much spite on a person who didn't even do anything. He's just a quiet person, happy when they win, not that happy when they lose. It's crazy. And Demon One in a sense where he's the villain, quote unquote. But he does have some personal issues. Then making fun of him on broadcast itself says a lot about these casters as well.
Yeah. For sure. I guess this whole situation will just make people be a little bit more self-reflective in how they deal out criticism and stuff like that, and how you respond to it as well. I mean, I guess that's the best that you can take from it all. It's just to be a little, because you can criticize people. It's just don't go too far with it. I mean, you're going to get the internet comments and stuff like that, but 2-15. And the funny thing is the person pointed out Boaster's 2-15 record when basically all of Fnatic did horrible, right? Chronicle also went -13, Leo went -9, Alpha went -8, Durka, who I mean, he went positive, coming into Master Shanghai, a lot of people were sleeping on Durka. They were like, you know what, bench Durka, don't let Durka play duelist, and he came out shining. But all of Fnatic just kind of shot the bed pretty much,
Yeah.
So
especially if you're the leader of the team,
right.
Vocally the leader and then literally the leader of the team,
right?
You're gonna have to take a heavier weight on your shoulders. When your team loses, it's on you.
Yeah.
Because that's just how being a leader is. When you win, you get all the you're becoming like FNS, or you are Boostio. Like, you get all the praise.
Right.
No,
And plus you're the IGL too. Like no one really expects the IGL to do good. That's why I was
Yeah.
like pointing out all the other Fnatic players doing bad, because it's like it's kind of funny because like Boaster's like he been training his aim, he got better at it. But it's funny is like when Boaster does bad or like not like fragging as much as he was at the beginning of kickoff, Fnatic actually does a little bit better. Of course, 2-15 is it's horrendous, but Chronicles 3-16 isn't helping either and whatnot. But yeah, it's just it's kind of messy all around. It's just funny that they chose to pick on Boaster when all of Fnatic was just
Yeah.
underperforming. Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add to it. Just please do not bring up dead people to
Yeah.
try to defend. It's just not
Especially when
comparable.
it's not
at
the
all.
same thing.
Like
Like,
Fnatic is suffering from success in a sense. You can see the DJ Khaled pose right now.
Yeah.
But
he won 2 trophies last year.
2
It's
trophies,
okay.
almost won a third one, back to back to back.
And then they just won EMEA, like
Just
the
'cause you're
split
having a
one.
slump,
It's
like-
okay.
And it's not even about the crying. I mean, people get emotional about sports all the time. It's
Yeah.
just
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Because it means that people care about the sport.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Okay. Now to a actual tragedy. EDG. I'm sorry. Paper X is our next segment. What happened to Paper X?
I mean, it's mostly just a communication issue because they have 5 fraggers, no IGL, which is hard at least to perform. Because I've always been against what they've been doing ever since last year. Because yes, they may win based on fragging power. A lot of time they're just dry swinging and winning the fight, which is crazy enough. But my main point, or the way I view Paper X, is that in a best of 5 they will always lose. Because because it goes deep and emotions will run high, and when you don't have a specific person to go to and mid round with no timeouts, and that says that can we chill, can we calm down, can we call strats, it's very hard because I've seen every voice com, right? Alex is the one that asking them to calm down, not the IGL. No, they all just keep quiet and listen to Alex. So in my head, it's like you might as well just let Alex play for you, because what's the point of having 5 fraggers with no leadership within the squad itself? And it definitely showed against G2. They were lost after map 2. They won map 1 convincingly. Map 2 is a bit of a slippery slope. Then map 3, they just fell apart, man. It's honestly very, very weird.
Yeah. I think part of it is just unfortunate that map 3 was Bind, which has been one of their like most turbulent maps ever. It's just like one day they could look like one of the greatest on that map, and then the next they could just completely get dunked on. I remember in Champs 2023, Jagamo was silencing all those people who were praising, like he basically made a name for himself on Bind, saying that I'm the best Raze in the game. It's just that's just how Paper X is on Bind. They just haven't really figured out Bind at all. So I guess that's kind of unfortunate. But like, the story hasn't been written yet. You could have just said maybe they just got punched in the face, and they didn't really know how to recover. We'll see how they do against 100 Thieves. Damn, that's going to be a tough game against 100 Thieves.
Well,
Because 100 Thieves are pretty good on Bind, so
Well,
see
if
how
you
that
look at Jing compared to Icy on that map, so Icy got 7 first kills. Jing got 1 and died 6 times.
yeah,
Like, that's kind of like one of the best things about this team is Jing, like being able to be explosive, being that extra person that can like just kind of freestyle it with the rest of the team, with Forsaken doing stuff. And it's just also, especially going up against G2, I think G2 is the exact opposite of Paper X. They're all built on just like they're a brick house. Like they're just structured, they're solid.
That's true.
They'll get knocked down, but then they'll just kind of keep playing their game. Paper X sometimes when they get knocked down kind of just gets crazy, especially if they don't have a timeout.
Yeah.
Like it kind of, yeah, like if you look at from 4th round to 11th round on Bind, it just kind of snowballs. Like G2's attacks, they're not doing anything that insane. They're just kind of hitting their sights, doing what they're supposed to. But Paper X is just kind of freaking out, trying to do these weird strats that just aren't working. And it kind of just runs away from them in certain maps. And that's something you can't have when you're playing the better and better teams that are also on hot streaks. Like that's why they're good against every team that they early on, but then once it really matters, that's when they start getting funky.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, they did well against EDG, but then again, like, would you credit was that like EDG game more about Paper X being better or EDG being worse in y'all's opinion?
I definitely think the pressure that EGG is facing was greater than they could handle, merely because that you're in your home crowd, you're the last CN team there.
Yeah.
You just got knocked down by Heretics in a very embarrassing fashion. The pressure was on EDG. Well, as for Paper X, it's international pressure, but everyone is happy to just congratulate them for having a good run, to say. Everyone is very supportive of Paper X. Well, EDG, while they are supportive from worldwide, it's very hard to say that they can handle the pressure in a sense.
Yeah, I guess that could be because of the fan base. Because I don't know, I've been noticing this towards the end of champs, and not even towards the maybe Masters Madrid. There feels like there's a lot of like self-loathing going on with like the CN teams, at least from what I've heard from time to time. Is like I feel like I believe more in CN teams than some of the CN fans, Chinese fans from time to time. But that's just because I like an underdog, and sometimes when I watch Chinese teams play, I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is like they're pretty solid. At least that's how I felt with Fun Plus Phoenix and Trace Esports from time to time. But yeah, like the story it hasn't been written against Paper X. It depends on like how they show out against 100 Thieves, and I am kind of worried that 100 Thieves might actually,
I
slam them pretty hard.
I actually think the opposite. I
really
actually am losing faith in 100 Thieves.
Really?
Gotcha.
Because of course Gen.G just is like a better
Goated.
team than 100
Yeah.
Thieves. They're just better. But also there were certain things that I was like, maybe I was just reading more into their body language than I should have, but I just felt like they were kind of not, like their energy was kind of a little off the entire game. Maybe it was just that they were just getting stomped by Gen.G and that's just like a one-time thing. But I think against Paper Rex, like that same thing could happen. Like they could just get stomped. I think, but then again, like 100 Thieves could just, Paper X has the same issues. That's why it's going to be so interesting.
Gotcha.
But I think one of those two teams are going to stomp each other. Like I don't think it's going to be a close match.
Yeah, same. I feel like Paper X should just ban Bind low key because if the third map is Bind, it's RIP. It's GG. The script writers already have it in them. It's the fall of Paper X, right?
Yeah, well, not even Ascent is safe for them though, because if you've been noticing, like Cryo is incredibly good, especially on the defense side with the op. Like you get that op on his hand. Like I haven't seen one bad Ascent map from them.
Well, especially they're definitely going to ban Bind because 100 Thieves, that's like their go-to pick. That's why it was really hard against Gen.G because Gen.G doesn't have just a straight permaban. So they got to actually pick 100 Thieves' as best map to ban, like which is Bind. And that's why it was kind of difficult for them. So Paper X, if they do that, then they should actually be fine because they'll pick Sunset. And 100 Thieves isn't as good on Sunset as Paper X. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I think I would have Paper X winning that, but
winning. Okay.
I
have 100 Thieves.
I have 100 Thieves.
I'm staying up late for that one.
Yeah. Hopefully they switch the times. Like sometimes they switch like the timetables of them.
Because if they do 4/7 local time, and if they just move it up 2 hours, I'd be okay.
Yeah. Same.
I hope they move grand finals to like start like even 1 hour earlier would like save me such a headache.
Yeah.
But like if they do grand finals at the same time at 1 a.m., we're basically not sleeping that day.
The
Yeah,
grand finals
best of
is at
5. Yeah,
2 a. It's 1 hour earlier for grand finals.
Okay,
For this
perfect.
match.
I
okay.
mean,
It's still
probably
dead
still
for
not
me.
sleeping, but
I know they
It's-
changed the time for Masters Tokyo, right? Like because they noticed that they weren't getting like the viewership or something. I'm not too sure why they
well,
did it, but they did
NA is
change it.
huge part of the viewership.
This
Yeah,
this
but they
year
haven't
for
changed it for
Asia.
China yet, so who knows what happens.
This
Well,
season's
it's
for
'cause-
Asia.
It's probably because like they're getting huge viewership from China.
Yeah,
True.
So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also getting more people into the game out there would be kind of nice.
yeah.
I mean, China is their biggest market.
Yeah.
I wonder
And-
how it's gonna be. Like, it's gonna even explode even more, especially like in the APAC region when like Valorant Mobile comes out. And I
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
wonder, is like, are they gonna do esports events just for
No,
Valorant Mobile?
not even just what's it called?
The mobile
Asia,
or
but
oh, okay.
also like a lot of like South American
Mhm.
esports are mobile esports.
Mobile.
That's
Yeah.
true.
They have fighting games. They also do COD mobile.
Brazil's biggest esport was Free Fire, and that was like a mobile, like
This is
competitive
wild.
game.
Do you guys think we could live in an era where Valorant Mobile is bigger than
Bigger
the
than-
original? You guys
Oh,
think that's a
cry, man.
possibility?
I would die.
Because
I
like,
mean-
isn't like one of the biggest esports right now like Mobile Bang Bang or something like that?
Mobile Legends.
Yeah, Mobile
Mobile
Legends Bang
Legends.
Bang.
What's
A
the
straight
other
rip
one?
off, bro.
It's like super colorful. It's like kind of like mini figures. I can't remember.
Oh, like the gotcha game?
No. Anywho, that doesn't matter. Let's go to the next topic. EDG. Did they crumble under pressure?
Yeah.
I can't.
I
Yes,
feel
they
sad
did.
for them, but yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone kind of expected that like everyone expected it. Maybe people had hopes. I, of course, in my preseason predictions, put them as winning just because I was hoping. But yeah, I think they did their level of like what we thought, but I think they did crumble.
It's so unfortunate too, because all it takes is just one map, and this whole conversation could be different. We could have been like Paper X crumble, because if they went to split, who knows what would have happened. They were
Yeah.
so close to beating Paper X on Bind, like literally 2 rounds, and then it's just, I wouldn't say Bind they crumbled, but Sunset, when you lose by more than 5 rounds, that's a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
And
they played two good teams.
yeah. I'm starting to realize that like a lot of the teams that don't make changes aren't performing as well. You notice, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe I don't want to say it's a time for a change, but maybe it is for EDG low key. But the thing is like, who do you replace on EDG? Because I wouldn't know.
So I saw the press. Was that a press conference? No, it was a statement they made on one of their social medias, and it went something along the lines of like they changed their style almost after every international split, and it's because they don't know what works until they get to the international stage.
Yeah.
Because everything that they're doing in the regional stage works. Like they're just beating teams like all the time. So when they bring it to the IL, it's completely different because now you're playing against teams who are at that like high caliber level. And we've been saying this for like a year and a half now. China is like nowhere near the level of competition of every other region. And I get it.
Top
It's
to
because they
bottom.
just
Yeah.
barely got the game. But there's just like such a large discrepancy in like skill that it's kind of bad for China for them to be so closed off to people who are basically right next to them, like Japan
I think
or
yeah.
you know Singapore or like any of the or other orgs or the Korean orgs, if they were allowed to scrim against those teams, the quality of games for China would go up so
I think they do
high.
scrim against Paper X. Like I've heard people mention that a couple of times in the past that they scrim against Paper X, but I'm not too sure with the other APAC.
But I'm pretty sure
games.
it's like limited because
Maybe.
I don't know. It's bizarre to me.
I mean,
But yeah, you're absolutely right about in that sense where because it's like it goes back to that whole saying iron sharpens iron. You're only as good as like you can only improve as fast as you go against other like teams, right? You don't know how strong you are until you face the best of the best. And America's is very competitive, so they benefit from that. So they know what their weaknesses are and they can fix it. Same thing with the APAC region. Paper X has Gen.G now and even DRX to like really push them. EDG had Fun Plus Phoenix and whatnot, but yeah, I totally understand what you're going with that. I think China as a region is progressing pretty quickly. I think after this season, it's going to be a lot better. But like you said originally, and I think we all kind of agree that EDG kind of did crumble here. And it's going to continue to crumble until the region as a whole gets better. Like you said, Zeph.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, like I really feel bad for them because just one victory, and I think, I mean, for the most part, I think the region would have been happy with their like one success. But it feels like FPX's one map was the biggest success coming from China. So, I mean, I feel bad for the people who are rooting for those teams.
Well, I think something that like FPX kind of proved, I think, to EDG themselves is like in that whole interview or whatever they did, they were also saying like how they're upset that they always kind of changed their style. Like they tried to be like Fnatic, they tried to be like this, and they didn't just stick with what was working in China. Like, yeah, those teams are worse, but I don't think like the players themselves are that far behind what the other players are doing in other regions. Like I think if they just stuck with their style and didn't get like, oh, actually, like this worked and we had been practicing this for so long. Now we don't know if this is going to work with these better teams, so we got to do like what they do. Like they're not them, and they can't practice in that sense. So they should have at least just stuck with what they were doing and just sharpened it then. Because in each like international event, they would have just gotten better rather than like looking like this again. Like they look like how they looked like the first time they came.
Yeah,
like they haven't really changed. In FPX, I feel like they looked better than last time. Like, of course, it's a different team, but I don't know. And they were just more interesting.
That's a real interesting take too, because it's like you can apply the same thing to Paper X, right? Everyone keeps saying get an IGL, play differently, but hey, they're playing with what's comfortable for them, and whether you hate it or not, it's working, bro. Like they went
haven't won
to
one, but
grand
they
finals
always make
twice.
it.
Yeah, they had so many top 4 finishes, and that's a lot better than other teams that quote unquote play the like correct way of Valorant, like the systematic approach. So it's really a catch-22, you know. It's do if you don't, or it's like it's do if you, I don't even know how the saying goes, whatnot. But it's like it's just really, it'd be a different conversation if they won. It'd be a different conversation altogether. So
I think now they learned. I think now they'll just create their own style and just stick with it. And I like that because Kang doesn't fit in any of the other styles. Like I think like their style works with when Kang kind of does his own thing, when nobody kind of does like what they do best, which is kind of be a little bit wacky sometimes.
I mean, they found their most success using their previous style that they are using in VCTC, and we should show the coaches that you should just be yourself when you're trying to play against these other teams. Because Pipex has success with being this wacky team where they just cook up their own strat. They do overcook, but they have faced a lot of success.
Yeah,
I agree. Anything else to say about the Chinese region? Okay.
I mean, I'm still hopeful on the region as a
Me
whole.
too.
I think they'll bounce back.
I am. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to rag on like China too much, but do we really need 4 Chinese teams at champions?
Probably not. No. Yeah.
But in the long term, it'll give them some. It'll be
No,
an
no,
easy
no.
win for some teams, but
Yeah. Like
it'll be
exposure,
nice.
you need to take baby steps, you know.
Yeah,
Just,
you got 2 teams that are gonna get blown out, and then it'll be 2
Yeah.
I
teams
just
that
want Billy to come in.
Billy, yeah.
Please,
I want
God,
Wolves.
God in heaven, if
Imagine
you're
Billy
listening to
and
me.
NRG rematch at champs.
Oh my
No,
god, that would
no.
be
Crazy, man.
so
Yeah.
good.
FNS Bus Nightmare coming back.
Exactly.
Adi just show up.
The night before, he
Walls
just
don't
wakes up in a cold sweat. He hears nothing but the sound of judges and Raze's satcheling. That's even if Raze will have double satchels by that point.
Oh my god, I think
FNS,
that's really cool.
if you can hear us, please save us. Save us from Billy. All right. And by the way, I did keep my promise from last episode, and I did get the Billy Classic. So I will be rocking that until Champions, the end of Champions.
It's crazy so many people actually went for FPX over Foot and were right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I think me, Forward, and you, Andy?
I was
Yeah.
also on
Yeah.
I was the
FPX.
only one
like,
who didn't.
Yeah, you were the only one, which is crazy because that was all of our like upset picks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Just imagine if FPX had the first seed, bro, and then people wouldn't be able to prepare.
They would have. I actually think they would have.
Honestly,
Yeah.
people would have ragged on EDG if they would have gotten eliminated in the group stage or Swiss stage.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's great. I feel like that's great if you're not the number 1 Chinese team anymore. You know, at the beginning of kickoff, Fnatic wasn't the number 1 Chinese team, or not the number 1 Chinese. They were no longer the number 1 EMEA team. I like things to be shaken up a little bit. You know, it was.
Agreed.
I personally, even though Foot did better than Carmine Corp, I wouldn't mind to have seen Carmine Corp at this event. I personally would have loved to see Carmine Corp at this event, but the better team won out, and it was Foot and whatnot. So, and Foot's still here too, and they're going against Team Heretics, which is going to be an interesting matchup too. I wonder if they're going to keep punching up and beat them. Maybe Foot was the savior that EMEA always needed.
Seen it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about NA for a little bit. Who is better, G2 or 100 Thieves?
If I was going head to head, like if they were playing against each other, I don't know. Actually, that's hard because I think 100 Thieves have a higher ceiling. G2 just is like a better team. Like
objection. I think it's the opposite.
You think G2 has a higher ceiling?
I think G2 has a higher ceiling, and I've been preaching this for weeks now, and it's that G2 have been leveling up slowly every match. I mean, 100 Thieves did the same thing too this split, but theirs was like way faster. And I think they've kind of reached a ceiling. I mean, it could be the like recent loss bias, but I do think that like G2 have been like just incrementally, like very slowly getting better and better. And I think there is a chance they win. I mean, it also could be biased because I just saw G2 win IEM Dallas right now, but
Yeah, right.
so.
I'm leaning more towards 100 Thieves. You know, I mean, I've been doubting G2 from the very get-go since kickoff a little bit, and they've been making me eat my words, but I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna keep doubting G2. If somehow they make it to the grand finals, I'm gonna buy a G2 Classic. How about that? I'll get the G2 Classic
Okay.
if they make it to the ground finals. Because if they do, that's way above my expectation of this team coming into the environment. I still think 100 Thieves is the better team. And we'll get to see that too when G2 and Gen.G face off and whatnot.
It's gonna be tough.
Because if Gen.G beats G2, then they move to the lower 3 round, lower bracket. And if 100 Thieves beat Paper X, they go into the lower bracket and face each other. Wait, No, they don't. They go to the lower finals. I'm tripping. It's been a long day, guys. But we'll get to see who's the better team based on like how they perform against G2. Because 100 Thieves, even though they got like, I want to say 2-0, those maps weren't like blowouts per se, you know? They were competitive. Like that's how I always look at things. It's like it's not if you win or lose, it's how you win or lose. And 100 Thieves just didn't roll over. Like they put up a fight.
In that same breath, I would say like a lot of the matches that G2 has played, like some of the maps, it looks like they were done. Like
Yeah,
there was
that's
no
true. They
coming
felt
back from
that.
them.
Yeah.
But I think it's Valen. I could be wrong. Or it could be the guard, just like core in general. But they're fairly resilient. Even like down 10-2, they managed to like turn it around and win their match. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I would say G2 is I would put a bet on G2 because I believe they are more consistent than 100 Thieves because 100 Thieves only got into this form recently, while G2 has always been that kind of stable ground where they are like consistently going up bit by bit, while 100 Thieves are just like, oh, are they going to perform bad? Are they going to perform well? It's very weird. And Boostio has contributed to the fact that 100 Thieves has become more consistent, but when you have a core that has been together for like around 3 years and you guys can basically read each other's play style and stuff like that,
That's true. Yeah.
it's gonna be a G2 if they ever do face head to head again.
Like my thought process is 100 Thieves, if they played Gen.G again, would not win. I think they'd get 0-2'd again. G2, I think, could beat Gen.G. Like they have much more of a chance. Like there's certain teams 100 Thieves I just don't think can beat. G2 has a chance against everyone. But like 100 Thieves will like I would put more money on 100 Thieves like winning grand finals before G2. But hey, G2 might beat Gen.G and then make it to the grand finals and win. I could see that totally happening. For me, I think 100 Thieves. I'm really big believer in Bang and EU, like as like kind of more glue players, support players that kind of help out the team. And then
Right.
Austin, I think, is a great player when he has someone that can rein him in. And I think he's learning, he's maturing, he's getting older and learning how to be a leader more. I just think 100 Thieves have, oh, and then of course Cryo. I just think they have a lot of key players that I think are better than G2, like individually. I just think G2 has been together for so long that they're so solid. They're just better in different ways.
For sure. For sure.
yeah, and miracle runs do happen, and I do think that G2's run has been very miraculous. Even if like you compare it to their first miracle run back in Reykjavik, well, that was more in like the NA side of it. But then like they kind of like bottomed out after that.
Were there like favorites? Were there the top seeds coming from
They
America?
were the
then?
top seed, but they were not the favorites.
They
They
beat
weren't. Oh, okay.
Optic 3-1 in the grand finals, and everyone was like, whoa, like Cryo's the best player in the world. And then they kind of got, well, they played Paper X and Optic, and then they got kind of stomped.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, we'll see. It's really interesting to see who we get in the grand finals. And we won't know until June 7th. So
yeah,
I'm so excited to see that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real interesting too because like G2 and Gen.G aren't like the type of teams that you just look at and be like, oh, they depend on just one player. They both play like Team Valorant as well. So we'll see what happens. It's just going to be like good Valorant because that's what I always hope for when I watch Valorant. I don't want to be in Valorant jail, basically. You know, no one wants to be in Valorant jail. So hopefully we get good Valorant, a lot of exciting matchups and stuff like that. Because like my coming into this tournament, my thing why I was doubting G2, I was like, who's going to be that star player? Who's going to be carrying the team? Because every other team has someone that you can look at and be like, oh yeah, they can constantly top frag. And it's really cool to see Icy. Like, I don't watch a lot of tier 2. I didn't know much about Icy, but he's making me eat my words. Like before during the Swiss stage, I looked at his stats. I watched some of the games. I was like, okay, he can get first kills, which is what you want from a duelist. But does he give you that extra oomph, after getting those first kills? And I just didn't really see that. He's making me eat my words during the playoffs. Maybe playoff icy is a thing. Who knows, And he's just diffing people, and he's hungry. And I'm going to keep doubting him, and he's going to keep playing better. It is what it is, I'll be negative $20. Who cares?
Okay, speaking of actually, I don't know, that's a bad transition. All right, let's talk about Gen.G. Can they win Masters Shanghai?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, totally. It's interesting because they're playing G2, and if you asked anyone, like, this is such a crazy upper finals. Like, if you're just thinking about before the season started, Gen.G and G2 playing in the upper finals, that's insane. But Gen.G's so good. Like, but they've always, like, their coach and Locky and all that, they've been like pretty good since the beginning. Like, they were Newturn, who made it to Reykjavik. They finished in third, but like, they've been here before, like, some of these players, and then bringing in these new players like Karen, and man, I'm just, this team's so cool.
Yeah. I just think it would be funny if they win in China, Just make sure, keep them away from Twitter or Weibo or whatnot. Make sure Gen.G does not make any political statements. It would just be funny to see all the Chinese fans having to sit there and just clap on Gen.G and whatnot. Maybe the drama in the past is just water under the bridge, and people just keep
Honestly,
bringing
no.
it up.
It's not. It's not.
It's not water under the bridge.
They do not cheer for. They cheer
They
for
do not
everybody. They clap for everybody, but they don't clap. They don't cheer. They don't do anything. They just stay quiet when Gen.G is up there. It's like the most like
awkward thing imaginable,
like thing ever. Like,
So
honestly,
annoying.
I would just start booing. Like, please just boo these people. Like, throw some like tomatoes at them or something.
Yeah.
Like, make me like a Gen.G stan. Like, give me a reason to like want Gen.G to win. No, I'm just kidding. Gen.G has a lot of reasons why they should win. I mean, they're incredibly solid. I've been singing the praises of Meteor for like years now. God, Northception was such a disappointment. And I like Karon. I mean, like, just someone from like rank 1, like Valorant from your region, can just suddenly become a pro player, and I think that's like the greatest thing that can happen. I wish it happened in other places like Latin America, but I'm glad it's happening in places like Korea. So in that sense, I'm rooting for them because they kind of embody the let's get the players from our region and like put them together in a team and make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, they are definitely the most consistent of all the teams that are in Shanghai. Even back then, in Madrid itself, they were very consistent. It was very shocking in a sense where they just kind of appeared out of nowhere. They weren't in the top 3 last year. I think they lost to Zeta to qualify for champions last year.
Yeah.
But to be able to like switch around a few players while maintaining some of your core is very surprising. And the way that Karon has flourished into like one of the best smokes player, and Texture being like literally the best duelist aside from Cryo, it's kind of insane. There's, in a sense that out of nowhere this team is able to click so fast. It's kind of like Sentinels with John QT in a sense, but
for sure
they definitely do have a chance to win it all. I mean, especially with the second place curse, where every other team except for PaperX, unfortunately, has won a trophy after coming second place. EDG, for example, Fnatic, for example. Yeah, if Gen.G do make it to the grand finals, it's very hard to see them not be able to win it all.
Man, it would just be so funny to see them win it in China, man. And it's very believable, like you guys say, from top to bottom, they're very stacked. and it's
They
just
don't
like
really have
they
a weak
do
link.
have weak links a little
I
bit,
don't-
like Lakia. and
I think
whatnot.
Lakia in this tournament has proven that he's not that. Like I think in Madrid, that's the reason why they did have weak links. I think
Mhm.
this time Lakia looks a lot better.
Yeah, that's true.
Munchkins looked a lot better, and
Yeah, I think they're kind of tightening up.
he did not look good in split 1 or stage 1, whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the fact that like he's kind of been like a clutch god this tournament, in my opinion. Like there's been a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, like he can actually frag when he needs to.
Wow.
So
Maybe ever since EG won champs after coming in second place in Masters Tokyo, maybe they slayed the second place curse. Maybe it doesn't exist anymore. I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, I think
I guess the script writers are getting lazy. They're like, you know what? Let's do for Gen.G what we did for Evil Geniuses. You know, they both have G's in their name. No one will ever suspect it.
Also,
You know,
I just want to remind people like that Gen.G was a complete mess last year. Like
Mhm.
if you when I was doing the beginner's guide to VCT 2023, I had to like research like Gen.G because I was like, I don't know any of these players. Like what, like they overhauled the entire roster, and I was so confused. And I was like, oh, they got texture from global,
Global
esports.
esports.
Like, what are we doing here? Like I was like, I hope it's not another situation where like, you know, all these players end up being bad, which it's not the case at all. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of interviews with Meteor saying that was like one of the worst experiences that he had ever had with players on his team.
Wow.
And it's even in like some of the official promos he's been saying like he did not get along with players on that team. So the fact that like the org itself was like, all right, we're just gonna blow up the roster and keep like Meteor and like the coaching staff is like, my goodness, it must have been really, really bad for that to be the extreme that had to be taken. So.
Yeah, because like Gen.G, I remember the beginning of last year they were pretty good, and then crumbled towards the end. You know, after their red hot start, and I didn't even know about the whole like internal conflict. So
no, it was because of that. It was because of
good.
they started off
Yeah,
winning 4, right? And then they lost like pretty much every other
everything.
game after that.
Yeah.
So
You know what they say, winning cures everything, and if you're not winning, it's a very tough place to be in.
yeah, but this is not the last time we're gonna bring up a Korean team because I got things to say about another Korean team. But
Okay.
not yet. All right. Is this the weakest first seed in Masters history? Are the first seeds the weakest they've ever been?
I think statistically, yeah, because 3 of them fell down right away. I don't think we've had that when teams entered the playoff. Because I think maybe back in 2022, one of the tournaments, I think we had a bunch of first seeds. Like I think when the guard fell down, I think we had like a couple other first seeds fall down. But yeah, no, this one's like I was surprised that 3 of them fell down. Like I assumed EDG was going to fall down, and I assumed
I think
Fnatic
Masters
was.
Tokyo was a little bit similar too, but I mean,
I don't think it's just. I don't think the players themselves, like the teams themselves, were that weak. I just think it was just. It just didn't play well. Like I just think they didn't show up.
Fnatic, obviously, hindsight 2020, but like 100 Thieves. No, I think they deserve their spot. I mean, I don't think they're weak by any
Because I
sense.
think EDG should have been first seed, of course. Like I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't have. And then Fnatic played fine. Like Team Heretics, yeah, you could have said they could have won it, but they were still figuring out stuff. Like it made sense that Fnatic won it, and then once Team Heretics kind of got the ball rolling, and like they would be like you would think now that they would be the first seed.
Yeah. I think the only reason Gen.G wasn't the first seed is because like they had a bad day at grand final, and even in a bad day, they went best. They went all 5 maps.
Yeah, and then also like split 1, they were still trying to figure. Like they were kind of they're doing a little bit of a loud slump.
Yeah.
Like slump a
Yeah.
little and then come back.
I mean, it's definitely interesting. I think this is the first and only time where all first seeds have been knocked down to the lower
That's
brackets.
true. Yeah.
Which is crazy to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the first seed of Pacific knocked out the first seed of CN. Then, if I'm not wrong, 100 Thieves versus Paper X, another first seed is going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, to be honest. I think it definitely comes from being able to warm up. I feel like those teams in the Swiss stage, even though like Gen.G weren't able to practice due to the stuff that's happening in China and
Yeah.
with the team itself, but they were able to get the reps in against other high caliber teams in Swiss. Same as G2 to a certain extent, same as Heretics to a certain extent, same as Foot. They were all able to get rounds in, while Paper X, Fnatic, 100 Thieves, and EDG, I think they mostly scrimmed against the CM teams, which made it kind of hard to play like at that level because you're playing with such low level opponents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Yeah. Do you guys think other teams are having a hard time finding scrims?
I think
Partners?
quality scrims.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're definitely getting easy scrims, and especially now that all the CN teams are gone, I think none of the teams really are worried about. Like, no one's playing a CN team, so there's no leaking of
Info.
draft.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because that's why, like, probably Team Heretics wasn't probably scrimming with Chinese teams before the EDG game.
Because I was just thinking about that. Because like, if you're in China, it's not like you're going to be able to scrim against other EMEA teams. The ping is too much. America's teams aren't going to be scrimming against America's teams. Like, your only option are other CN teams and maybe some APAC teams too. You know.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty much it.
yeah. And
I think even
you
then,
have any?
Apex, like lower side of the teams, right? They aren't that good. I would say some of the CN teams would be able to beat a lot of the APAC teams. They kind of have like what Gen.G, Paper X, DRX, T1. I won't count because I truly believe they're horrendous.
Yeah,
But,
I don't want to see T1 at another international event unless they like just shake up their roster all over.
I totally
again.
forgot they were even in this one again. Like,
I
every
mean,
time they're here.
They just did the group special. That's the T1 special. That's their way. They just get grouped.
0-2.
0-2 winning one map.
They went there to eat some food and come back.
Exactly.
Okay.
I heard there was some like not drama, but I think Eskerit said that he didn't really like the vibe of T1 towards the end of Split 1 as well. Which is kind of interesting.
I could see there being a lot of internal issues with that team. Like, that's like not being talked about enough. Like, I bet you in like at the end of the season, all of the stuff's going to come out about. We had issues with this. There was like two factions in the team that I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, to be honest. The fact that T1 won against DRX is just crazy in my opinion. But to be honest, I feel like the only reason why they won against DRX is because Saya player and Rossi was able to carry them quite hard. In a sense where if Saya player, Escurate and Rossi are able to hit their shots, it's pretty much a done deal. But Escurate himself has been very inconsistent with the op. There's a lot of times where I just see him with like an open man shot where other duelist mains will be able to hit. I mean, he plays Chamber for Christ's sake. He has two ops and he's not hitting on either one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think T1 just got lucky that they never faced DRX. Like, they beat Gen.G in the upper semifinals. And then I honestly feel like if DRX and T1 faced off, DRX would have been the one to make it through, in my opinion. But it's just unlucky, I know Na'Vi feels a lot worse because they got eliminated in the knockout round. And Na'Vi could have been a top 3 team. It's just unlucky, I just hope next time when we have like an odd number of teams, we just don't ever go back to this kind of format. It's just
the format is absolutely trash when I feel bad for Na'Vi.
Yeah, they're easily a top 3 EMEA team, but yeah, it's just rough. How are you guys feeling so far about Masters Shanghai versus like Masters Madrid? Which has been like more exciting for you guys?
I think
Shanghai.
Madrid was better.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm suffering from the time zones.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure like we're experiencing what like majority of the other region is experience because they cater for us North
Right.
Americans. But man, like 2 a.m. forward is like not for me. Like I can't do it. Like I'm a night
Yeah.
owl. I love like just I'm more productive at night, but Lord, I cannot watch these games
Yeah.
past
I
like
just
3
been
a.m.
really I feel that. I just been mainly watching the highlights and
Yeah,
just
like
based on
Daily
the
Valorant.
highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to
I
Daily
think
Valorant.
yeah, I think I prefer Masters Madrid so far because a lot of the
Yeah.
competition has been over there was a lot closer. I don't think Masters Madrid there was that many blowouts, right? Even EDG when they like got decimated by Loud, they were still able to like get a map, I believe, against Loud. I think I might have to like research that or like someone might want to fact check that. But it felt like we've had a lot of blowouts so far in Masters Shanghai.
Yeah,
So I kind
a
of
lot of
prefer Masters Madrid so far.
the games feel like they're not even close. Like, how can G2 go from defeating PRX in such a dominant fashion to losing in such a sad way? It's very weird in a sense because Madrid had way too many close calls in terms of
Yeah.
like teams. Every team was like competitive. That could be due to the amount of teams that are in Madrid where you just take the cream of the crop
Yeah, that's true.
and just ask them to fight each other out. Because every team was in Swiss stage in Madrid. But I don't know. It's very hard to see how like this Swiss format will play out in champs if they ever
Champs,
do it
I
yeah.
in
mean,
champs.
yeah. I know Doug from the caster.
Mm-hmm.
He's been tweeting about it a lot. I've also watched his streams. Like I've talked to him about it,
Cool.
and
Name dropping. Okay, we get a Zeph. You big Mr. Big Time. It's cool.
no, not like that. I mean, on his Twitch
I know.
channel, but
I yeah.
basically, like he's been saying, like a lot of like the meta right now has been like super snowbally. So like a lot of the games tend to like be blowouts, like you guys are saying, and it may or may not have to do something with like the economy. Because like when teams can't afford things, like even if they like lose like a buy up round, like it's even worse for them because now like that they're going lose, buy, and if they lose, they're on another eco. So now that's 3 rounds, and then like it even when like teams after an eco, they're just back to a 50-50. There's no point where like they have an advantage anymore. So if they keep losing those rounds, then there's like no place to be even. And
Gotcha.
the,
What's
the the way
changed
I see is
between yeah.
like do you guys remember like the chamber meta? Like everyone complained about like him having like too much versatility. Well, I feel like Chamber's versatility was the reason why like some of these matches were like so much more exciting, because Chamber on an eco round could still be just as impactful as Chamber
Yep,
on a buy round. And so like there was more
that's true.
opportunity for teams to win rounds based off of gunplay with an agent like Chamber, because they had the op, they had the headhunter, and like one player can make the difference. And that's why it was like so much closer, because there was opportunity to win rounds even when down on the eco.
But what's the difference between Masters Shanghai and Masters Madrid? What do you guys think changed from that? Like, did team just like got more comfortable with the meta? Because I know like Masters Madrid, people were still testing stuff out, right? Because of the new changes. So I guess maybe teams got more comfortable with the current meta that we're in. That's a
Well,
possibility.
I think one of the big reasons is I think one of the maps that have been getting kind of like a steamrolly and kind of making people feel like a lot of the games are like blowouts is like Icebox, because people have kind of changed how you play Icebox now. More teams have been pushing and being more aggressive over on B site before you even get over on site. And like you'll see that with like Team Heretics. Team Heretics will play up a lot more, which will it just kind of like ends up these new like kind of slightly different strats that it result in like the team that's not prepared just getting kind of destroyed. And then the other team has something on like, let's say bind, then they kind of steamroll. But really, in my opinion, I didn't think that at least the Swiss stages have not really like all the matches were pretty close in my opinion, except the Dragon Ranger games and then the Lev T1. Because T1 just kind of like after they lost the first one against G2, they were done like mentally. And then Dragon Rangers shouldn't have even been here. But like every other game was like pretty interesting in my opinion. Every FPX game was really cool. All the Gen.G games were pretty good. Team Heretics has been fun to watch every time because of Woot. G2 has been interesting because they've just been consistent. So the 2 games in the Swiss stage, they played it close against Team Heretics and T1, but it was kind of interesting. So for me, this like tournament has been more interesting because I think there have been blowout maps where a fake comeback will happen. I think more fake comebacks are happening in this tournament than Madrid. I think when a boring map happened, it would just be done.
Right.
Yeah.
In this one, it just is like I think part of with the economy, there'll be snowball rounds and then they'll just lose like an eco.
Yeah, I like how you pointed out that on Icebox for sure. I felt a little bit like that, especially towards the end of Masters Madrid. But hopefully the next map that we get is going to be good because so far, like, I'm gonna give Riot their flowers, even though a lot of us sometimes like to rip Riot. Lotus and Sunset have been pretty good maps so far for a competitive standpoint, for a viewing pleasure, because those are the maps where it's been very close, exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. Some of my most memorable moments or things I can remember have been on Lotus and Sunset. I still don't know why people hate Sunset so often. Like in my rank games, people dodge Sunset so often.
I think it's because of it has the same issue as
You
Pearl
good, Zeph?
on
Zeph was like, "Nah, don't mention Sunset."
No. I think that's kind of crazy that people are dodging Sunset, especially when like okay,
in ranked,
this
I
is
think
just
it's
me
like,
personally, but I hate split. I hate the verticality because like I have to move my crosshair up, crosshair down, and like my best maps are all the ones that are flat. Like where I just have to keep my crosshair like at one like steady level. But that's just
I don't think you're gonna like the next map. It's been rumored there's gonna be a lot of verticality. There might be.
I'm so excited.
For pro play, great. For rank play, I'm cooked. I don't have Viper either anymore. I'm cooked.
Right.
Like send me back to bronze.
Like the sites are gonna be stacked on top of each other. Like that.
I love
At least it's been rumored.
I was watching that the G2 versus Vitality, the CS2. And man, that nuke map is so cool. Nuke is so cool.
It's
like
fun.
you can get on top of the water tower and then you drop and dude,
that's cool.
Please. And then like there were so many like instances where like they would jump on boxes and then they would get kills like out of nowhere and it was like super hype. And
nice.
Please lean into like the more like not random variables, but like just like those like weird angles where you could get a kill. Like those would be cool. More complex maps.
Right. Hopefully they never bring back Icebox and Breeze after that.
I don't like watching Breeze in pro play, but I love playing it in ranked.
Gotcha.
Because I just play Harbor.
You play Harbor?
Yeah.
He's a line smokes merchant.
Wow.
Yeah, I just attack A a bunch of times.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because then you could do pressure in mid. Just kind of.
How do you play him on defense?
I just don't.
Yeah, that's his weakness. It's just he's such a liability on.
I just play on A and use his walls to just delay and then hopefully get a kill.
He does have walls on top of walls.
Because I just use Harbor to delay on Breeze. Like that's all you can really do. But I would love Fracture back. I think Fracture is the map that I've missed the absolute most because I think it's one of Valorant's best maps. Like I don't know why it's been out so long.
It's because the community hates it. People don't know how to play Fracture on defense. It's like so many times I have to remind people, hey, let's be a little aggressive on defense, but People
Yeah,
just don't
you
want
have
to
to.
be
You
aggressive
can't
on B.
just sit back because there's too
Yeah.
many lanes, and that's why
Mhm.
it's so awesome in pro play.
Yeah.
Because and
Because
that's why.
oh yeah, that's true. It's like people getting aggressive and whatnot. That's what we want. We want the action. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
and there's so many different ways. That's why it's like I understand. Like I understand why on Sunset pro play like it's annoying, but in ranked I don't understand why anyone would dodge Sunset because it's actually fun to play.
Yeah.
But in pro play, I hate because it has the same issue as Pearl, where you just sit back after you plant and then you just spam through smokes. Luckily now we're kind of like nerfing some of that, but
Yeah.
they just need to kind of I think just fix that one site. I think that's B site.
Yeah, it's B-side with the stairs. I mean, people complain about it, but we've seen a lot of counters to that. I don't think it's as bad as Pearl.
Yeah, I don't think
My
it's
hot take is that I don't want Pearl back in the rotation either. I know a lot of people love Pearl, but playing it was so boring.
yeah,
I
it kind of
wasn't a
got
big
boring.
fan of Pearl, me personally. That's my hot take.
Yeah, I prefer the two men they should get rid of is definitely Icebox and
Mm-hmm.
Breeze. We don't want to
maybe
ever see that again.
Breeze, bro. Because they're so boring. Icebox, you bait A, let them rotate, you go B.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you just lug mate the cash and rotate. So
The map.
then it's the same for Breeze as well. If you're playing double smoke, you just Viper Wall A, then you just smoke B. And it's so simple that it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I kind of do take it back. I like Breeze when they closed halls. Breeze was a lot more bearable when they closed halls. I don't know why they reopened it again, but
It's more
Yeah.
boring.
yeah, is it? I
Okay,
guess.
okay. It's as a ranked player, it's better.
Ranked
For
player,
us.
yeah. But
For
pro
pro
too many
play,
lanes.
no,
It was
because
boring.
all
Okay.
you're doing, Viper Wall, diagonally here, push, flash, your
That's true.
inside,
That's true.
plant, the default. That's it. Like
Yeah.
there's no like variability.
Breeze has always been
It's
kinda
literally
boring
the
to
same
watch.
thing. On B side, throw the wall up against the mini wall,
The
and
pillar,
then
yeah.
push.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
flash, push. It's just the same thing on the opposite sides. It's
yeah, that's true.
makes
There's not like much creativity. I
and
see what you mean.
Icebox has gotten worse because you can tell when a round is over. If they don't get the plant off with a Sage or a Gecko, it's wraps. They're not
Mhm.
winning the round. And if they don't do that, they go A. And then A is like the only like interesting like part of the
Who
map.
was that one team that went A 12
It
rounds
was
in a row?
T1.
Was it Leviathan?
No, it's T1.
No.
T1.
Oh,
Yeah, they
T1.
went and they won. They beat G2. That was one. That was another game that made me like lose faith in G2. The fact that just got thrashed. They just couldn't stop the A push. But that's low key how you play Icebox. You just 5-man rush the site.
Well, and then FPX did a kind of unique way to play the map, which I kind of liked, but I don't think it's like it's for them. Like I don't think it's going to be like the way that they were playing through mid a lot, blocking off like they were using Harbor's wall to block off different sight lines and then just pushing mid and creating multiple different lanes. It was pretty cool. I just don't think a lot of teams like that's going to be like start becoming meta. Like use this really funky comp to start using mid.
Yeah.
I just think teams can slowly start countering it, especially because they didn't have a sentinel, I think, in that comp. I think they were mostly just like specking on like controllers.
Yeah.
And that's going to be easily like there's no flanks. So they're going to be stuck in mid. You can go behind that. Like once you kind of understand and game plan off of that, Icebox then goes back to normal because you can't do that comp anymore.
Right.
I feel that.
Yeah. So hopefully the new map is more interesting to watch because the map pool feels quite boring right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to Americas. Yes, America. FNS and some are back. Are we back? Is NRG back?
I think in the long run, yes.
Hell no.
Oh,
But in the beginning, because like who they face Sentinels first, I think they lose that game.
I
personally.
honestly think that they just can't. They were not gonna. I honestly think they're gonna just look. They're gonna look more disciplined, but I don't think they're gonna be better.
Oh yeah, because
I
like
mean-
you're giving up Demon 1 for Psalm.
And then they're also gonna play G2.
yeah.
They're like I don't know. I just think they'll be maybe middle of the pack. Like maybe they could actually lose to Cloud. I could see them losing to Cloud9 or
yeah,
Crew.
they could lose all 4 games.
They could.
Low-key.
Like it's not like they're
So
playing the Brazilian teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they already got past those, so I don't know. They could honestly do worse, but I don't think that this is like they're saved. I don't think they're safe. Not yet. Next year, yeah, but not this year.
I forgot how chalk their group is, bro. Their group is so tough. Like,
Yeah, and yeah, any of these teams could beat them, like if they just play. Like
Sentinels might not even make it out of this group, honestly.
it's a difficult group.
You don't know who's
compared
going to
the
make it
two.
out of this group. Any one of them can make it out of this group. You have Sentinels, NRG, G2, Cloud9, Crew. It's scary.
FNS will definitely be like that'll be a nice addition.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be at least in games. They're not just gonna get 13-3'd.
That's true.
maps.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a lot more competitive. I just don't know like record at the end of this how they're gonna be. Just because this is kind of hard, like jumping in, even though you're FNS and SOM, like it's kind of a hard task to give them. Like in my opinion, maybe they can do it, but I'm just like that's tough.
I think they could do it. I think NRG is low key back because I remember I was looking at all the teams that made changes after kickoff. All of them did better. Like the only ones that actually got worse as a team was Giant X and Bleed. From my opinion, that's just my opinion. Some people might say other teams, but DRX made a change and they went 5-0, right? Crew made a change and they were at the top of their groups, you know. Cloud9, they made a change with Moose and Rooney. They got better. So I believe the idea of like adaptation is going to take teams time to adapt. They have a whole month, you know. They have a whole month. And if those other teams I just mentioned were able to bounce back, damn, I'm talking myself into believing in an NRG believer right now, bro. I'm believing, bro. Zeph, what have you done to me? I'm believing in our NRG.
Maybe
it's
I'm
doable.
back.
Hard.
Yeah, you're back. It's
definitely
doable.
going to be hard for them to make it out of groups and to playoffs.
Yeah.
Given the fact that the groups themselves is so fucked. It's so
It is.
like when you look in retrospect, right? You see one side has the easiest, like the lowest rated team, then the other side is just like
The
hell.
heavy hitters. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you ever watch basketball, right, you know the Luka meme versus Jason Tatum, where Jason Tatum is all like fairies and shit.
Yeah.
Luka is just going through the depths of hell, fighting every single hard team.
Yeah.
But
The East and the West Coast Conference is exactly like that. You're right.
They
You're right.
literally might be playing against two like Masters champion, like the two Masters champions.
That is so
Like,
true.
They might be playing G2, like they're going to be playing G2 and Sentinels, and then Crew, who went on like a really good run.
Yeah.
Cloud9, who is a god in regular season and then sucks in playoffs. Like, like that's like difficult. It's gonna be fun to watch every one of these games. I'm really excited, but that's gonna be interesting.
My only thing that I'm worried about with NRG is I know a lot of people are big on the Victor and Crashies duo, but I'm not. I really am not. They've been kind of underwhelming these past, like not even this year, but the end of last year too. I think those are like low key the weakest links because even Ethan has been low key doing a little bit better than those two. So that's the only like asterisk that I have about them.
Well,
personally,
I just don't think Demon One fit into a group with Crashies and Victor on the same team because, yeah, I just think Victor is now it's definitive that he's going to be like the entry. He's going to be the guy doing the plays, and then Sam is now like controller again. Like this is all good. Like Demon One was this weird hybrid that kind of was, I think, hurting the team just because they didn't know who should play what at all times. Like I think if they figured it out, this team would have been fine. I just think they didn't figure it out because like if they had Ethan's skill in FNS's brain,
scary.
Like, then this team would have been perfect.
Yeah, you might have made the greatest support player known to man with that combo right there.
Yeah, so it's like, that was the issue. Ethan just couldn't find a way with this team, with Demon One being this weird like fit that we need to fit in somehow wow, we already have these other people that are very structured in their roles.
Yeah, you make a very good point because I remember watching Platoon's video about it, and he talked about how like EG used Demon One completely different than NRG. Like Demon One was thriving as the second entry, which the more I think about it, that reminds me of like how Tens at one point was great as a second entry, and then when Sentinels wanted to keep changing up teams every like 5 months, he started to dwindle a little bit because he was no longer that like second entry duelist type person or even a player. So yeah, you make a good point. I'm still kind of worried about Victor and Crashies. That's just me. Hopefully they make me eat my words just like how G2's making me eat my words. But we'll see.
I mean, a lot of it contributes to the fact that FNS and Marv, they both call very differently. If you watch, because if I'm not wrong, Marv was the in-game leader while being on controllers and stuff. And
Oh, I
that
didn't know
being said,
that.
it's
Okay.
hard to be in-game leader while being able to clutch at the same time. Because if I watched a few of NRG's VODs, and a lot of the time the calls were just not there or up to par to like what FNS used to be doing. Because even if you watch like FNS stream, the way he thinks throughout around is definitely like one of the best in terms of how do you like position yourself in a situation where your team will always win without there having to be like a 1v3 1v2 factor in play.
Yeah.
Yeah, Energy
Okay.
does have the advantage of that people don't really have tape on them per se. Like, yeah, you can look at Champs 2023, Masters last year, but they're not. That doesn't mean they're exactly going to play the exact same way, you know. So that's one advantage. They have a lot of tape on the other teams, and the teams don't really 100% know how NRG is going to play. So that is a slight benefit. Only time will tell. Yeah.
Okay. Here comes the cope. All right. Last year, or not last year, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was last year. With artists. God, it feels like so long ago. Oh my
yeah,
God.
it does.
Anywho, last year, artists, he was like in his like not sophomore slump either. He's been playing for a while. Never mind.
He just had a slump.
He had a bad year. He had an awful year. Like they put him in the wrong roles. He didn't play Jet that much. Has he ever even played Raze? No, because Zip hadn't plays Raze, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. So he didn't play Raze. He only played Jet. I mean, some maps he didn't need to. But now I think like with the Victor thing you were saying, like, yeah, he's not like amazing, but that's because he's been like kind of the flex player for like years. He doesn't need to be like amazing at one role. He just needs to be a jack of all trades, good at all of the things, but not a master of anything. I think this time around, he's a really good Raze when you actually like watch him play some of these maps. Like he's been playing that dive role for years for Yay. And I think
Gotcha.
like with this like dive meta, I think he's gonna excel, especially like
Okay.
on the Raze. On the Jet, there's not a lot of footage. So to me it's a little more, we'll have to see. But I'm fairly confident that he's going to be able to like adjust to that. And him being on like only 2 agents, I think is going to be like really good for him because he's not going to be bouncing around like initiator or like I don't think he plays smokes, but different initiators or like a sentinel or a duelist. He's going to be in that one duelist role, and all he has to do is go kill. And I think that's going to be good for him.
Right.
Crashies. This is the part where I completely agree with you. Crashies has not been playing to the level that people expect them to, and especially him being like the initiator player, he doesn't like really need to break out of the mold at all. But he does need to learn a new character, which is Gecko, and he has been awful on Gecko. Like I don't know how like it the character is easy. It's like one of the easiest characters to play. You throw the flash, you pick up the flash, you throw the flash, you pick up the flash. It's not that hard.
It's not. I think Kaizen also has an issue with Gecko too, I believe.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. That's why he doesn't want to play him. We'll talk about Loud in a bit. But yeah, I mean, Boombot, just basically Boombot. Or if you don't want to do that, just plant with the thing. Like you don't need. It's not that complicated. And then you have a Molly. Again, none of these seem like things that Crashies can't do. So like, I don't know what's going on that he like can't get that through his head. Now, Som coming back. I don't know how rusty he is, but that's what people said when he joined. No, he was already part of NRG, but when he joined this like Optic core, like people didn't know what to expect from him. And I think we're in the same situation now where like he's going to be the controller player and he's going to do well again. As far as FNS, I don't expect them to frag. Never, ever do I expect them to frag. But I do think that he's going to bring a lot more focus into the team. But it's not up to him to bring that team back into line. I think a lot of it has to do with other people, especially Crashes and Victor, who are supposedly the people they had a fallout with. Crashes, Victors, and Chet. Like those three need to get on the same page with FNS. And I'm not saying like FNS needs to take like complete reins of the team, but the team has to listen to him during like the mid calls or during timeouts or when he's saying like let's address this issue or this issue, because that was like one of the big things is that NRG, the moment they started collapsing, it was just like straight downhill. They could never recover from anything. And during like the Optic days and even during the NRG days, like they would recover like amazingly through some of the games. So please just listen to your leader. That's why you have an in-game leader. This is why Paper Rex collapses. No offense to Paper Rex. But go ahead.
Optic was known for them to like struggle out of the gate in tournaments and then come back and like go on these runs and stuff. And that was something that was like missing last season, which I can't imagine like what made them like not believe in FNS. Like,
well,
like, because yeah, I know they were struggling, but it's like one season after having like being Optic. Like I don't know, like you were Optic for 2 years, so you can have one bad season with NRG and still trust your leaders and still get along. That just was kind of weird that they crumbled like that so quickly. I have no idea. I don't really look into any of the NRG stuff.
Well,
like
literally it's today, not super clear either. There's like a couple of implications, and they're from like old videos. They're from like because when I was doing the documentary on NRG, I had to go back to like the end of 2022 or 23. Yeah, 23. I had to go back to the end of 23 and like listen to all the interviews they had, and there was like this one segment that still is in my head where he was like saying like, oh, I had lost control of the team. What do you mean lost control of the team? Like people weren't listening to you, like people
like
weren't
you were mid-rounding and people weren't doing stuff,
like people were telling you no, like what was going on? And obviously I don't expect anyone to elaborate on those things, like obviously like given this
we don't need another Ye situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like please don't
keep
ever
that together.
mention it. We don't want to know. But I assume something similar may or may have not happened. I don't know. I don't claim to know, but it's my assumption that maybe something more personal may have happened between the Optic guys, and that may have caused the fallout. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of it is about like regaining that trust, and maybe like with them not qualifying for their first international event in like actually 2 back-to-back that they haven't qualified for international events, that maybe they're like realizing, oh, maybe we were wrong. So that's the hope. But again, I don't know. And then Ethan, I don't think Ethan was ever a problem aside from like the IGLing. I said it in my video. He's playing well. He's playing his role
Yeah.
pretty good. He's adjusted to the meta. He's playing Yoru. He's playing initiators. So it's I don't think it was an Ethan thing either. So I'm
Yeah,
glad
he
he's
was
on the
doing that
team.
while IGLing. Imagine what he does now as a secondary play caller.
And I think he's going to take that Victor role where he's like going to be like the jack of all trades but master of none.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be flexing a lot
Yeah.
more in my opinion. And yeah, as far as the schedule, oh my gosh, there is
It's messed
there is
up.
a
Who
lot
knows
of
what's going to
uphill
happen?
battles going on.
Yeah.
But I do think Sentinels is like a good win in my opinion. Like yes, like Sentinels did win Madrid. They do look strong, but they have been kind of slouching as well. They haven't looked as strong in the last split. So I think like this is a good opportunity for them to like win like a semi difficult opponent. I mean, come on, Sentinels lost to EG,
Yeah.
and EG went 2-4 throughout the whole split. So come
Man,
on.
imagine winning Masters Madrid and kickoff, but not making it to champs. That would
Well,
be
they
crazy.
had like the biggest fallout ever.
Yeah. And it's possible too because that group is tough. But I think all they need to do is just win 2 games and they should be safe, right?
Yeah, if Sentinels has changed nothing about their gameplay from last split, NRG will win.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I
think
mean, are they
burnt
still in
out.
Cancun? Like, is 3 of their
No,
members
they're not.
still in Cancun?
They're not.
Gotcha.
I just think they were burnt out. Now they're gonna like
Yeah,
they're a
that's
good
true.
team. I
Yeah.
think they're
They
the
should make it.
building blocks that they've already built is already higher than NRG would be. Like I just don't see in the first match. Of course, like NRG can definitely do it. Like all 5 players are good players. Like they've all won. Yeah, they've all won a Masters or like something. So it'll be fun because that'll be one of the matches where every single player has won at least something.
Yep. Do you guys think there would be any teams in the APAC region that could surprise us? Or do we kind of have a consensus on what 4 teams will make it the champs?
I think everything's going to be the same. Team
It
Secret's
really?
going to come and be like pretty good and then not good enough though. Like all the teams that are so close to being good enough and then they just don't become anything. It will happen
I
again.
mean, I don't see T1 making it to champs, to be
Mhm.
honest. There's no shot. If they will have to have a rematch, right, I think either Team Secret or
Mhm.
Data Division will go in their place. Merely because T1 themselves, right, the way that they're playing is heavily reliant on their upper accurate. Because the guy has mostly just been playing the op on a lot of maps, even on attack, which is to me is throwing if you're opping on attack. Because there's no point. You lose so much mobility, and for what, to get first pick when the other person is just gonna jump spot you, and the moment you shoot that thing, nobody's gonna pick you ever again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So their whole comp is basically reliant on whether Accurate can get first pick, which is not good because Accurate is their flex player, is their harbor, their chamber. Are those two are the only 2 agency play? Let me check.
It might be.
No, he's
Yeah.
Cypher.
Yeah.
Imagine Cypher opping. Imagine Harbor opping. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely
I mean,
do
hey, we had
see-
like Gecko opping in Masters Tokyo.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and that
A la
was insane.
Kang.
Honestly,
Yeah. Didn't something do a little bit of that too this year as well when he was on Gecko?
Well, they
yeah.
sometimes do because Boostio did it last year.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
just don't miss, right? Just
Yeah.
don't miss. But yeah, I feel you. It is kind of weird just to see that. Like you just gotta have immense confidence. You gotta show us that you've done it. But anyone else who's done it, yeah, you're right. They're basically trolling. I guess a lot of people are like having Gen.G, Paper X, DRX, and then that 4th spot is what up for grabs?
It's up for grabs. I would say for about half the teams because there's Team
RRQ.
Secret, RRQ.
Oh yeah,
Talon.
Monye or Monyet.
Don't forget
Monye.
Monye.
That's the official pronunciation,
Gotcha.
I think.
They wrote it on the paper, so it must be true.
I
Monye.
honestly think right, cause it's the top 3 teams right that make it in from playoffs, right? So the forfeit is just based on points, right?
Mhm.
So based on what I'm seeing,
Well,
right,
when you get,
Talon
like,
has a real shot
Talon.
in getting in.
Oh
That's
yeah.
who I think, and I actually would prefer to see Talon in than like most of the other teams because like RRQ, Team Secret, let's say T1 is in that too, and Zeta. I don't really. Maybe it's just me. I just don't really. I'm more invested in Talon a little bit. I think they have the same issue as Carmine, which is they have good ideas, and then they're just can't mid round. They can't really make decisions on their own. Like I think that was one of the issues I remember from Talon. Like they'd have good ideas, and then once they got kind of hit in the face, like against
Just
Paper
stop,
X or
yeah.
Gen.G, they kind of just petered out. But against like Team Secret, T1, Global, like
Who knows? Yeah, I think even DRX like they let go of stacks, so that's not even a really guaranteed thing either.
oh wait, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet.
For global, right, I think they have no chance because they had Texture and Monya and they came near the last.
Yeah,
So I think it's just a coaching issue for global esports.
that's
For
true.
RQ, I'm not sure because the way they're going about the whole thing, I personally do not like it because for me the management themselves are kind of scummy.
Mm-hmm.
But for Talon, I think it's just mid rounding. Then for
Elaborate,
Zeta,
please.
what
Why
for?
is management scummy? We need the juice. We need the juice.
Okay, so I
Yeah,
made
give
a
us the
video about
tea.
it. So based on what I've saw and heard, the when RQ was initially accepted for franchising, instead of being the Indonesian representative, they
Oh
filled
yeah,
4 Filipino players
Yep.
and Tay Bottle or Zafaro.
yeah. You
That's
did a
all
really
they
good
did.
video on that.
Yeah. So they got in trouble from Riot because if they were to fill a fully Filipino roster, they will have no Indonesian representative, and that pissed a lot of Indonesians off. Cause during LCQ that year, Boom and Onyx were the final 2 teams, and they were both Indonesian, so they had a
Mhm.
lot of talent to pick from. But they decided to go with their old Indonesian roster, cause they did not have any international experience. They couldn't even barely get out of their own Challengers League, the Filipino Challengers League, and B, uh RK basically just wanted to pocket the stipend money, which is around 600K to 1.2 million USD.
I did not know. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So after like a warning from Riot, right, they basically were like, ah shit, we have to save face. So they invited Flip Jada and Elmimo into their partner season, and they let go of 2 Filipino players. So in the end, right, it's 3 Indonesian and 2 Filipinos. But the main thing is that they have no Indonesian fans to support them until recently, where they signed Monyet.
Hmm.
Damn,
Oh
So
yeah,
that's the drama with RRQ.
that was
Yeah.
worth it.
yeah. Thanks for the
Oh, the drama
rundown.
was worth it.
Yeah.
And and then there's still like their managers like Filipino, like kind of their leadership is still from that older era, like from what I know.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, now let's talk about it. TRX.
DRX.
Yeah, go, because I have a lot to say.
I have not followed them, so I'll.
I
Yeah.
followed them pretty quickly, to be honest, and it's very hard to find a good Korean IGL. It's very hard because a lot of Korean teams are very methodical in the way they play, and that results in very old-fashioned to a sense, where they like to play safe and only like they are very information based first, and then they hit the side. While as for benching or like removing your IGL, that's just trolling, man. That's just
That's
trolling,
true.
man.
Yeah. We've had like a handful of examples where like if you cut the brain of the team, they don't do as good, right? I remember JD Gaming, they had to let go. Yeah, and NRG too. JD Gaming let go of their IGL, who was a Korean. I think his name was Yeoman. And when he left, JD Gaming just never looked the same, right? They went from being arguably the second best Chinese team to now bottom of the barrel, even though I think they shouldn't be, but that's just what the results tell us. So you do have a good point about that. I think wasn't part of the issue the fact that Stacks just didn't like IGLing in
I
general?
mean, he picked it up by himself. He chose to pick it up away from Buzz to let Buzz just frag out of his mind. That's how
Gotcha.
they got like third place on certain international events. But the thing is, right now instead of having an experienced IGL, now their IGL is BN, which is who is 20 years old. So you're having an inexperienced 20-year-old IGL while half your roster is below 20 years old. Flashback is 18. Foxina is 19.
Mm.
And the only veterans you have on your team is Buzz and Marco, who has never IGL in their life.
That's true. I mean, hey,
Well,
the more you say it, the more it's reminding me of two other EMEA teams who are pretty young, Heretics and Carmine Corp.
well, this team wasn't even like playing bad in
That's true. That is so
specific because
true.
they lost to Paper Rex and Gen.G. They almost 2-0'd Gen.G
Hmm.
and would have made it into the event instead. They were 2 rounds away.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with
And
this
then
change. It
it
doesn't
just
make
it didn't
sense.
you didn't need to do it. Like even like they were like they got kind of blown out by Paper X, but yeah, it's still they pushed Paper X to 3 maps. Before that, they had beaten Gen.G earlier. Of course, Gen.G was in a slump. Like it just didn't make sense for them to just do this right now. Like give them like do one more. Like I thought everything was kind of starting to look good. Like they were like BN was in and he was doing like pretty well. I thought like I just didn't think Stacks was like this is the time to do it. Like
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do way worse now. Like
I mean, I don't know, to be honest, because
because who are they playing?
a lot of teams find it very hard to find a good IGL. For example, NRG, the moment FNS left, they became kind of shit. Same as Bleed, the moment Crazy Guy left, who
Yeah.
was their
True.
IGL, they became kind of shit. But I don't know, the fact that you're willing to take a risk on a bunch of youngsters, even though last year you were just playing around with Foxy 9 and Zessa's Heart by like swapping them, it's just bad management and coaching on their part at this end. Because this has been an issue since last year.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you played Foxy 9 the entire split and switched to Zest doing playoffs shows that you don't trust your young star, and B, they play two different roles. Foxy 9 was the duelist. He was playing Race. He was playing Jet. Zest was a initiator main.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, initiators is one of the hardest roles for duelists to go to and still like feel like they're providing a lot of value. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
good
just like a
point.
different role. Like,
Yeah, that too.
well,
Yeah.
and also if you look at who DRX isn't playing Bleed anymore or T1 or Global. Now they're playing Zeta, Talon, RRQ, Paper Rats, and
Mm.
DFM. Like
I
that's
mean,
not
they could still go positive
they
against
could,
them.
but I don't think this is the time. Like they could have still made it through with the team they already had. Like they didn't. Now it's like, oh, are they going to beat RRQ? Are they going to beat Zeta? Like now it's kind of like up in the air. Like maybe they can, but I don't know. It's just this one was they could have made it to the next event if they just kind of. I thought if they just kind of kept doing what they were doing.
Probably, yeah. Most likely.
I mean, it's a format different as well because they never got to play against T1. And if they face head to head, I'm pretty sure DRX will be the one in the position where T1 was, but they will actually win some games.
Mm.
But I don't know. I think it's gonna take a while for Valorant in general to find a format that works for like both their groups and for both their regional matchups and international matchups. Cause it is still an experimental phase with the whole franchise thing, but it's just messy, man. Because
Mhm.
if you split a team into two separate groups and rate the point system the same, there is gonna be imbalance, especially if some teams make changes and they suddenly become better or worse.
I think it'll be an issue every other season. Every time we have until we get to 16 like they originally like next year should be fine. Like right, like 6-6 should be okay. So I just think it'll be bad for this year and then like 2 more times where it's uneven. And then hopefully
Until that,
we'll be fine after that. But
Uh, I think that what they're doing this season, as far as the schedule, is fine. I think the playoff could be formatted differently. I mean, if you look at it, they could have just had like the 1 seeds on like 2 brackets, and then move all the other teams to the back, make a double elim. I don't know why they didn't make it double elim. It just makes more sense. Yeah, you're playing like 2 more games, but who cares? People want to watch more Valorant, and it's infuriating when like a team like Navi, who is clearly just as good as Team Heretics, gets eliminated off of 1 game. Like what? Like it that makes no sense. That makes no sense in my mind. Now, as far as like DRX, let me bring back the focus. Okay, let's go back to 2022. Top 4 every international event. People are happy. People want more, but people are happy. Korean fans are happy. 2023, we're still kind of in the same area. I mean, the team is good, the team is solid. They're not like bottom feeders by any sense of the word, but I think as the season went on 2023, people wanted a change, but people didn't want to change to the roster. People wanted a coaching change because they had stagnated strategically. Their aim wasn't off. The calling wasn't off. It was all on the coaching staff. And then DRX, instead of releasing their coaching staff, they keep it. They keep it the next year. And then we come to this year, they've changed Flash was it Foxy 9. They kept swapping him with Zest. Why? Why are we doing this? It makes no sense. And then they keep bringing Zest back as a substitute player in the lower bracket runs. Like, what is it? Do you believe in Foxy 9 or do you want Zest? Because you have to decide. You can't have both.
Maybe they just saw what Team Heretics were doing, and they were like, "You see, 6-man rosters do work, man." Maybe that was going on, because that's basically what Heretics are. They have a 6-man roster.
But
Well,
that works for them.
yeah,
That's
it's subs in and subs
That's
out.
been okay. DRX was clearly not a team that was ready for a 6th player to come in and out.
Yeah.
Also, Team Heretics was more like situational with like the mini boost
they
stuff,
weren't
super
forced to.
situational. Woot, it was the age thing, so it was like again situational again. So again, it's not the same thing. DRX is suffering from keeping a coaching staff that sucks. Like Termy is like losing his mind, like live in front of everybody, and it's so annoying because it's like you guys were saying. Why are we making an IGL change mid-season or 2/3 of the season in? Like you finished 4th place, and you're making a change.
Yeah, they did it twice in kickoff too. I
And
mean,
it wasn't even your fault. You're
Yeah.
better than Team 1. It's clear as day. There was no need to make a change. You guys were going to make champions. Korean fans were going to be happy.
maybe
But
they're just not
now-
okay with that because they've made champions before. Maybe they're just really desperate to actually win. It could
But
be
that
just
is-
one of those things where you take
maybe they're
one
just
step
I know it's
back.
desperation, but when is like upper management at DRX going to realize that it's not the players, it's not Flashback, it's not Foxy 9, it's not his fault, it wasn't Stacks. It wasn't RB's fault, and it surely wasn't Zeph's fault either, because even on Bleed he was fragging like crazy.
Yeah.
So
I
to
still can't
me,
believe
like,
RB's playing in China too. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, they
I
got
haven't
rid of
been watching a
RB.
lot of DRX games either. Fully. Who do you think DRX is better now, or were they better last year in your opinion, or for anyone who's watched a lot of DRX this year? Because I haven't seen a lot of DRX this
I
year.
mean, I think DRX during 2022, where they made top 3 or top 4, was better compared to current DRX. Because current DRX is just because in 2022 they were ahead of the meta, they were creating most of the meta, but now it just feels like they've fallen behind and
Mm,
are now like playing catch up and shit.
gotcha. Because I know 2023 was a kind of an iffy year for them and
Mm.
whatnot. But yeah. Man, I just need to watch more DRX games because going 5-0 in your regional play is still pretty impressive. And
Yeah,
they made a change after kickoffs, but I do understand because like I'm still scratching my head, but at the same time, I don't want to like eat my words because they
no,
made a change and they look better, and maybe it happens again. It's just so weird
no,
because
okay,
Stacks is
okay.
basically the face of Korean Valorant. Like, come on, he has so many iconic moments on DRX. It's just the kiss, the little ripping the paper X sheets and stuff like that. He has so many iconic moments. It feels weird not seeing Stacks on DRX.
I'm tired of this narrative that, oh, Termi made like DRX better. He's the one who made DRX worse in the first place. Like, what? Like, this team was top 3, top 4 in the world. Now they're top 4 in their region, and they can't even qualify for an international event. They're
Yeah.
literally cloud 9 in Pacific now.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I would have to say, yeah, they are worse off because I think 2023 DRX probably qualifies for Shanghai, in my opinion. I could see them qualifying.
If I'm the owner of DRX, I'm firing Termi yesterday, and
They
I'm bringing
can.
back RB and Zest.
Well, I guess they can, but yeah, isn't he like on contract until 2026 or something?
I don't know. I don't know contracts
Yeah.
that well. I'd have to
I
look at the
mean,
database. But
I get trying
esports
to
contracts are very fragile. Go ahead.
That's
Go ahead.
true.
I get trying to onboard the younger players because if I'm not wrong, all 3 of them are like 20 and under. But if you look at Gen.G, right, most of them are around Stax's age. So
Mhm.
I don't get why do you think that it's necessary to make sure that we've got to cater to these young players who have a lot of fragging power, but it doesn't make sense. You're losing experienced players. These are people that has been through the mud. No, if it does turn out that the Arcs are able to make an international event this year, what happens when they start facing opponents better than them? What happens when they are going through the worst of the worst that other players that aren't experienced will not be able to withstand and just like fall? Like, this is why you need experienced player. I don't see Marco or Buzz being able to tell the team like, hey, this is what we should do. We need to calm down, we need to rationalize our thought and let's plan a strat.
That's
I
true.
don't see anybody, and Berlin is one of the youngest player on the team. Are you gonna expect him to have the experience to say, like, can we just relax and not like crack under the pressure?
Yeah, he's like I think he's more of like a hype man rather than
Yeah.
a like emotional leader.
Yeah.
Like he should be just being he should just be a support player. I think I made a video about it when they were starting to do really good. Like he's like Zelsus. Like he's just like Zelsus. He's really
Imagine Zelsis IGLing.
yeah, it's like, he shouldn't be doing that. And I get it. And like I didn't realize how young he was, and it makes sense. Like the way I've been watching him play, he looks young. Like in his gameplay, he looks young. Like, and it's great because I was like, oh, this is so great. Now they have someone that's like super expressive, and then they have Stacks as the emotional leader. And now it's like you put it all on one guy. It's like that's not what the best teams do. They have a cheerleader, and then they have their IGL.
Isn't Munchkin like the IGL for Gen.G? Or am I tripping?
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me check.
Yeah. thought he was.
would make sense.
Yeah, because like Gen.G, like he's also. I guess you would consider him that. Nah, but Texture can make the whole stadium feel good with the way he acts. So I think Gen.G has a multiple hype people on that team when I think about it. But yeah, I feel that it's a lot of pressure to put on BN. That's for sure.
And especially he's a rookie.
Yeah,
Like this is his first time playing like in this big situation. So why force him to do so much so quickly?
Even
Like it was
just think about it pragmatically. Like they're also putting all of the org's expectations on Bane because he now has to be the IGL, the emotional leader, and the hype man for this org, and they're expecting him to carry them to a champions run. Like, come on, be serious.
yeah. I think 2024 is the year of new up and coming talent. The more I think about it, I'm just like, screw it. And BN we trust. You know why not? Screw it. Why not? And BN we trust.
He's really good. Like DRX is still a good team. Foxy9's good. Flashback's a solid player, and then Mako and Buzz are still really good. That's why I still have them as like a top team. I just think that they have a couple of hard matches pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like they're not getting bleed in global. Like they're not getting throwaway matches. Like
That's
even
true,
DFM is like DFM might be a throwaway match, but DFM is getting better too. So
it's just really hard to think of a DRX team like them being better than 2023. That's the only thing that's like keeping me hesitant because I keep trying to compare this team versus last year's team, and I still think last year's team is better. That's the only reason why
I think so
I'm
too.
not. Yeah, I'm not like fully on board with this rebuild yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if they surprise us.
I think this team's gonna fall apart. I mean, I saw the clip of Buzz crying. This team's not gonna make it.
Oh wow, I didn't know he cried. That's crazy.
It's on the DRX documentary when they lost that elimination map. Buzz went backstage and he was crying. They recorded it too. I was like,
that's
what
crazy.
Front door?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
why would you do
that's just
that?
how they do it. Anything for content, I guess. I mean, Paper X recorded some like really heated moments where Alex was just like ripping into the team. I watched those vlogs. I was like, dang, that's insane.
I mean, obviously, as a viewer for content, like it's good, but like, man, like it really tells me that things are messed up backstage for like you being eliminated to cause you to cry.
I mean, that's emotions though. You want your players to be emotional. It's better for them to like show that because like those moments can make or break you depending on how you like bounce back. You know.
I think if like you don't in a close match and you give it your all, I'm like, then you did not care enough.
True.
Especially when you have all that pressure on you. Because I think also it's just Buzz and Mako and all of them just have so much pressure on them to finally succeed, and they can feel the slip. Like Buzz he's aware that they're slipping, and they've been slipping for a while. They're not their old self, and it's probably very scary to possibly never get back because Buzz could be the next one gone.
That's true.
Even though I think if Buzz went on to another team, I think he would make it back with it. Like I think each one of these players, I just think it's crazy that they've all just had to disperse to like the worst options, kind of.
Just kick Buzz and Mako out and have Toast by the Division Striker team, and then they just run it. They just run through Ascension. Why not? Why not?
All the T1, cut the whole T1 team and just make
that
the
too.
Yo, that would be
you
fire.
could do that too.
Just because
that too.
Like honestly, if you just want to like, you could have the whole team and then just change one thing, and this team would be back. I think. Like I think they would be pretty good.
I don't think DRX would ever let go of Mako.
He's so good. He's
Buzz. I could see Mako.
I could see because you can drop entries. You can drop entry players and get another one. Like, of course, there's if I don't know, but yeah.
Anywho, we're running kind of late here. Does anyone have other stage 2 things they want to talk about?
I hope Cloud9 does better. But nah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I think we said everything we could say. I mean, I could go on like a whole 30-minute rant about Chinese Valorant, but I don't want to.
I could talk
hungry.
about Fnatic for a while. These are all things you have to come and watch all of our own channel videos. For
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah. Okay. What do you guys got coming up soon?
Just hopefully getting to 10K soon. Been
Amen.
posting. Been trying to do more documentary based. Nothing really too topical. So
Yeah.
I'm
just having fun. I'm doing a lot of different stuff. I have like some
Mhm.
lore videos. I have like a 7 days of Clove video that I'm going to be coming out, which is going to be very experimental for my channel. I'm just having fun. I'm chilling.
Do you did you watch Arcane?
Me? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We should do a video about that. We should work together on
Sure.
something
Cool.
before season 2 comes out. All right. Fulshi, what do you got coming up?
I'm just hoping my illness goes away so I can start recording my scripts.
Feel that.
It's been so bad. I've been like sleeping like 20 hours a day.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, it's been
You said illness or
long.
like allergies?
Illness.
Oh wow. I didn't know you were sick. My bad, man.
No, it's
You're a
fine.
trooper for doing this.
No, it's fine.
We kept you here for 2 hours.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't know
fine,
you
it's
were
chill.
like I didn't know you were under the weather. Is it like a common cold or is it like something more serious?
I do not know. I think it's a throat infection or something like that. I've been having that dose a lot recently. I might as well think I might go with a tonsil surgery or something. But
Gotcha.
other than that, I'm just gonna make a reaction to my tier list because it's quite bad. I put left in S tier and I got crucified. So it was just a troll pick. Then everyone started crucifying me. That's like, oh man.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
leave it
feel
on
you.
the
You just gotta
frogs.
own up to it, man. I had
Yeah.
I said G2 winning it was a Cinderella story, and they're gonna have it. So I mean, that's just Valorant, bro. It's unpredictable, man.
Yeah, it's one of the more unpredictable games. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm looking forward to doing a DRX documentary. I have like a few scripts lined up for that.
Nope.
I might do more tier lists, like for like East of the Pacific, Valorant leagues for EMEA, CN, and other stuff. Then my champions ranking afterwards.
Should be good.
Gotcha.
There's not a lot of like high quality like Pacific content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quite shocked. I think mostly because a lot of people just want to play the game instead of just making content about it. But I'm the totally opposite type. I just want to make
Yeah.
content and not play the game.
I feel that.
Dang.
I'm just curious. What's stopping us from doing this podcast weekly?
Time.
Time
Work.
scheduling. I mean,
Scheduling.
I don't mind doing weekly. Like Sundays are my most free day. I could do this every
Gotcha.
Sunday, no problem.
Gotcha.
I'm down for.
Because I feel like that's how you got to do it as a podcast. You got to like at least do weekly.
The last two,
depends.
Bare minimal.
the last 2 podcasts we've done have cracked 2,000 views. So
Yeah.
shout out to the 2,000 viewers.
Yeah, you guys are holding it down for us.
Yeah.
Without you guys, we wouldn't be here.
We're just trying to keep up with what is it, the Frost and Baby Bay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything, but
One day we might be able to overtake Pet Chat. Who knows?
Gotcha.
A bunch of nobodies versus a bunch of casters.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
we're not nobodies.
Yeah.
One day, what I
One
One
truly,
day.
I don't know if you guys saw my community post, and I tagged like majority of you guys. We're gonna be at the top of the Valorant.
Gotta
world
speak
one
into
day.
existence. Yeah, I liked it. I liked
I
it
liked it.
for sure.
One day, one day.
Exit Frag segment. This is the part where we shout out something quick, Valorant or not Valorant related. Andy, go.
I just started working with another YouTube channel, totally different niche, like not even close to esports. It's real estate, but if you want to check out stuff about American real estate, it's like Sage Weiss. I worked for him a little bit, so yeah, just been enjoying working on that.
Nice. Kai.
I'm thinking. I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
Come back to me,
Fulshi?
please.
I've never done this segment before, so I'm completely blind.
It's all good.
To be honest, I don't even know at this
Okay,
point.
I got mine. I got my
All right,
shout
let's
out.
go to Kai. We'll come back.
No
to you.
spoilers. No spoilers. I won't spoil anything, but shout out to Gay Gay. He brought back JJK. I was on the fence a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
with the manga because it seemed a little repetitive, but he pulled out like a crazy reverse Uno card. No, I didn't see coming. So
Cool.
he restored my faith in Jujutsu Kaisen. Shout outs to Gege.
Okay, I guess I'll make mine similar to yours.
Mhm.
Shout out to the Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. I just finished it.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I really like Sukuna, but
Oh, never mind.
I don't really like the first part of the season. It was a little slow.
Yeah, that's fair.
Picked
That's
up on
fair.
the second half, and it was good.
I think
Oh,
for me, shout out to y'all. Y'all have been really accepting towards
Thanks.
me and my content. I really appreciate y'all. It's nice to find a couple other people who are interested in Valor as I am, because I know a lot of people don't really pay attention to the esports side of stuff. So
I
it's
think
great to
that's
meet a couple
changing
of
low
people.
key.
Yeah.
I mean the esports has its own tab on the Valorant. It's like
Oh, yeah,
half of the
yeah.
game, really.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
esports scene.
A lot of coaches are doing like analysis videos on it too now that I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The analysis part is gonna get so flooded. Like, we need to focus on the stories here.
Yeah.
Focus on the documentaries, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what like people need to document esports more. I think if you watch any of the old, if you go back to other old esports, there's so many stories of history that just get overlooked, and I love
And
that there's so
forgotten
many
too.
people.
Yeah.
Like there's so many stories in Valorant. If you just go through the VLR page, this is for anyone that wants to become a VCT YouTuber. Just go through the VLR page and then look at like the old runs, because people are not making documentaries about them, and there's so many great stories throughout old Valorant that
100%.
like,
100%.
it's so much fun.
Absolutely. I mean, people didn't know like Loud were like a group of 5 players that just not randomly, but they got together independently. They were orgless. They were pancada y amigos.
Yeah.
And then Loud picked them up. It wasn't
Yeah.
like they were Loud and then they made this incredible run. It was these guys bet on themselves to win, and they did. So that was
Kind of
pretty
reminds me of like what FNS did in Counter Strike when he was like teamed up with Ye and Sub Rosa and them.
cool. Yeah.
And that was a possibility. Yeah. It's cool.
All right. Well, this is the end of Exit Frag, episode number 5. Join us next week for the end of Masters Shanghai. For Zeph, this has been Andy, Kai, and Fulshi, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.